Hello friends, it's Lisa and Sam. I don't know if you can see him, but he's here. And welcome to a new weekly reading vlog. So in case you didn't see last week's vlog, I will just quickly catch you up. One, the reason why I'm looking this rough is because I've been dealing with a migraine. Super fun. It kind of started last night and then it's kind of been lingering a bit today, so I haven't been doing the most. That's why I'm in bed. That's why I'm just kind of relaxing, and I have a cat falling asleep on my lap, which is great. At least, you know, I have a furry friend to help me out. So yeah, I haven't been feeling super great and also have not done a ton of reading so far for the readathon. It is the 4th of April, so we're 4 days in. I'm not too concerned, but I did start my first read for the readathon, which is Her Royal Highness by Hawkins, and I'm 30 pages in, so I'm not super far. Obviously, I'm probably not going to be doing too much reading today just because I don't want to be straining my eyes. I'm going to be kind of not looking at my phone, not doing any reading. I've been listening to some podcasts and stuff, and I have been watching TV because that's like far enough away that's not really bothering me. But yeah, probably not going to be doing too much reading today because I just don't want to make my headache any worse. I'm actually going to make this brief so I can close my blinds again because it's a little too bright in here. But yeah, I just wanted to start this weekly vlog and welcome you to like the first official full week of the Magical Readathon. I'm hoping that I can actually get a lot of reading done this week, as I haven't done too much reading the past few days, the first days of the readathon. Hopefully my headache and my health improves and then we can do a lot of reading this week. Fingers crossed. Hello friends, happy Tuesday. I promise this whole vlog is not going to be from my bed. I actually just sat down in my bed because I finally went to the library and renewed my library card. Yay me, I know, hold the applause. It literally takes 2 seconds, so I don't know why I was procrastinating on doing it for so long, but it is done. And now, if you saw last week's vlog, I was explaining that a few of the books on my TBR I was reading through my library, and I couldn't really read those until I renewed my card. So now I can read them, and I'm very excited. But first, I am still going to finish working on Her Royal Highness by Hawkins. I've still only read 30 pages, but I definitely want to do some reading today. I don't know if I'm going to read right now, just because I did start watching Criminal Minds again last night. I started watching that show like years ago from the beginning, because that's one of those shows that I'd always seen like random episodes but never like in order. So I started watching from the beginning, and that was a really long time ago. It takes me so long to get through shows, but also like that show in particular, I love it, but it's very messed up. And so there were a lot of times where I would watch too many episodes in too short of a time period, and then I would start having like nightmares about what was happening. So then I would have to stop watching for a little bit. So I'm back on it though. I'm now on season 4, and I mean, I'm not very far in because I think there's like 15 or 16 seasons. I think there's a lot. So I have a lot to watch, but I'm like back on that. So I might watch Criminal Minds. I might do some reading. Both of those things will probably happen tonight. I just don't know the order in which they will occur. But I thought I would just give a bit of an update because I am feeling better. My head definitely feels a bit better today. I still have a bit of a lingering headache, so I did just take some Tylenol. I'm gonna have a little snack and I don't know, just try not to like stare at my phone because I was looking at my computer earlier. I was editing a video and just like doing other stuff, so I don't want to be staring at a screen too much or straining my eyes reading or anything. So I'm gonna just see what happens, what I feel like, if I feel up for reading and all of that later. But yeah, definitely feeling better. I filmed a video today, so clearly I was feeling okay. And yeah, that's it. That's the update. Feeling better. Probably will watch some Criminal Minds and hopefully do some reading as well, because, you know, that is the point of a reading vlog where you're doing a readathon. Reading. It's a thing. So I'm going to be running some errands in like, I don't know, like 45 minutes with my sister. So I'm going to put on some makeup, just a little bit. And while I do that, I thought I could talk to you about Her Royal Highness. Can you see? Yes. So I did read a bit of this last night. How far did I get? Well, I read, I think, until like the 100 page mark, and I did read a little this morning. I'm now on page 109. So I think I'm like a little over a third of the way through the book, and I'm thinking maybe later when I get home, I'm going to try and finish. I mean, it's not that long of a book. I think I've said this already. It's like 270 something pages, so it's not that long. It's also super, super easy to read, very quick, so I feel like I could potentially finish it tonight. And I don't know if I've really talked about what this book is about, so I'll try to do that. I don't know why I always think, oh, I should vlog while I do my makeup. I can never do this. But this book is following this girl, Millie, who she got like a full ride, like a scholarship to this boarding school in Scotland. So she goes for her like senior year of high school. And when she gets there, she finds out that she is roommates. Oh my god, they were roommates with the Princess of Scotland. And they kind of don't get off to a great start, but so far where I'm at, they're still not really getting along, but I think it's going to be kind of like an enemies to, or like a hate to love kind of moment. And I'm liking it so far. I still feel similarly like about this one that I did with the first one, where it's like, it's cute and it's fun, but it's nothing like, I don't know, like it's fine. I do think that the writing is a bit better though. I feel like the first book, the writing to me felt a bit cringe. And the thing is, like, I'm not the target audience for this book, so I think it reading a bit young is not necessarily a fault of the book. It's like the fact that I'm 23 years old. But I also do just in general feel like this book is a little less cheesy than the first one. Plus it's also sapphic, so it gets extra points just for that. So I'm excited to see the romance kind of start, because I feel like where I'm at now, like, they're still not really getting along. So I'm excited to see what happens with the romance between them and just kind of where the rest of the story goes. But yeah, I mean, I'm making progress there. I'm happy that I'm at least reading again. I obviously haven't been reading the past few days due to being busy and a migraine, so I was very happy to read a little bit last night. I did eventually stop reading though to watch Criminal Minds. I picked like the worst time to get back into watching Criminal Minds because there's a readathon happening, but it's fine. I normally, once I watch Criminal Minds for too long, I feel like I talked about this already, but once I watch it for too long, I start getting like nightmares about what's happening. I start like feeling like I'm a person that these things are happening to that happened in the show. So once that starts happening, I'll stop watching and then we'll be back to focusing on reading. This will be the one time where the show doesn't actually give me nightmares, but it's fine. I realized like I have 4 like full-length novels on my TBR for this month, and there's 4 full weeks of April, so even if I'm just finishing a book a week with the graphic novels, you know, dispersed throughout, I will be fine. And I don't think that this book is going to take me that long. I honestly think I could finish it today once I get back from running errands. Obviously, I'll see how long that takes and what ends up happening with that, but if I don't finish it today, then I will definitely be finishing it tomorrow, and then that will be my first book for the readathon done, and I'll probably like read a graphic novel this weekend or something just to have 2 books done. I feel like my plan, I have 3 graphic novels and 4 normal novels, so I feel like I'm just going to read a graphic novel in between each normal novel. And does that make sense? I don't know. This is what I'm saying. I can't talk and do my makeup at the same time. I don't know what I'm saying. But okay, I think on that note, that means I need to stop talking and just focus on my makeup. So I'm gonna go out, run some errands, and then come back and hopefully do some reading and hopefully finish Her Royal Highness either tonight or tomorrow. Exciting news, friends. She did finally remember how to read. So yeah, I finished the first book for this readathon. I counted this for the alchemy prompt, which is to read a book that features a romance. So did that. I have 1 of 7 prompts complete, so happy about that. But yeah, I did finish Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. I finished it today. I know I said something about finishing it last night. That didn't happen, but I did finish it today, and that's all that matters. And I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. I gave, I think, the first one, Prince Charming, the exact same rating. I felt pretty much the same about this one as I did the first one. I know I said in my like reviews and stuff for Prince Charming, I just said that it was cute and it was fun like over and over and over again, and that's kind of how I felt about this one as well. It was cute and it was fun. And it was sapphic, so I think it gets a little bit of an extra like bonus points there just for that alone. Like I did really like the relationship. I liked that we were seeing Princess Flora, obviously like her mom, who is the queen, was not necessarily the most supportive of her being a lesbian, and she kind of kept saying that it was a phase. And you know, obviously when you are royalty, that type of thing is maybe not the most accepted by everyone, but I think you see Flora just kind of being herself, and you see her being proud of that despite what everyone is saying, and she's like, it's not a phase, this is just how I am. And I also liked seeing Millie kind of learning more about herself, and also just traveling to Scotland. Again, loved the setting as well, and again, just love a good like royalty castle kind of moment. There were definitely some moments in there in some castles, so happy about that. So yeah, there definitely were things that I enjoyed about the book. I think it was just one of those situations where it is a young adult novel, so it is geared towards a younger audience, and this is more so a reflection of me than on the book. I just think that I might be a bit too old to be reading this duology. It was cute and fun, like I've said a million times, and I'm happy to have read it and to recommend this duology, especially this one because it is a sapphic romance, and I think I would love to have more sapphic romances and books to recommend on my channel, so I definitely would still recommend this one and the first one. It's cute, like I've said a million times. I just think I might be a bit too old to be reading this particular type of YA novel, if that makes any sense, which is, again, not a reflection on the book, more so on me. I also do feel like parts of the book were a bit rushed. Like I do think that the book, like if it was any longer, I think it would have been too long. I think certain things with the plot would have been dragging. I just feel like the romance, they start having feelings for one another, they get together, there's a conflict, and then there's a resolution really fast. Like it's all within the last like maybe 40 pages of the book, and it's like, what is all of this? Like, you know what I mean? Like I just wish that the relationship was a little bit more developed, and I felt that way about the first one as well. I also saw someone on Goodreads say this, and I kind of have to agree that this book just feels very much like the first one, just sapphic. You see this girl go to Scotland, not know much about like the royalty and the culture there necessarily, and then gets thrust into the kind of royalty aspect, whether they're interested in someone who is royalty or just very close to the royal family, and also like the relationship itself is kind of like a hate to love situation. It feels very similar to the first one. Not that that's a problem, like it's a good solid story. I think it's just because I read Prince Charming not that long ago that it is very similar, that I feel like I just read the same book again. I did have a good time reading it, but it's not anything that I'm gonna be like, oh my god, best thing I've ever read. But I'm happy to have it also to recommend as like a sapphic book recommendation as well. So I do think that there were some good things to come out of it, and I had a good time reading it, but definitely not something that I'm like totally obsessed with. I hope that that made sense. I feel like I just rambled in circles for 10 minutes, but anyways, finished that. That was the first book for the readathon done, and now I think I'm going to pick up one of the graphic novels on my TBR. I don't know which one I'm going to pick up first. I have Princess Ever After, and also the Tea Dragon Festival, both by Kay O'Neill. And then I have A Spark Within the Forge by Saba Tahir. So I'm gonna pick up, I think, one of those before going into my next like full-length novel. So I think I'm gonna pick up a graphic novel, don't know which one yet, but I think for my next like full-length novel, I'm going to pick up The Shadow of the Fox, I think is what it's called. Yeah, by Julie Kagawa. I want to, I think, read this because I don't want to obviously start my buddy read with Darian and Casey, because I don't think either of them are ready to read Pachinko yet, and also I don't want to read Clockwork Angel yet. So I think I'm going to read Shadow of the Fox after I read a graphic novel, but I definitely want to take a little break, read a graphic novel before going into the next book. But that's it. That's the update. Finished my first book for the readathon, 3.5 stars, and we'll be starting a graphic novel and then The Shadow of the Fox at some point, maybe today or tomorrow, but I definitely want to get started on my next read because I feel like, you know, we're a week into the month, a week into the readathon, and I've only finished one book, so I definitely want to make some progress there. So hopefully I will be doing some reading either tonight or tomorrow. Okay, please ignore the unmade bed behind me. My cat, I don't know if you can see him, but he fell asleep on my bed before I could make my bed this morning, and my cat is the most important thing to me at all times, so he will sleep and I will make my bed later. But hello, it is now Friday, so super exciting because I don't think I have any plans this weekend, which It's just so weird because like I'm just not that busy of a person, but I feel like recently I've had a lot of things going on the weekends, whether that's just seeing friends or seeing family or whatever it is. I just feel like I've kind of haven't had just like a very like nothing going on weekend in a while. Obviously, like the weekends where I see my family, it's not like there's a lot happening, but you know, it's nice to just know that I have like no plans this weekend at all. So hopefully that means I will do some reading. I haven't read anything since I finished Her Royal Highness yesterday, but I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to read Princess Ever After by Kay O'Neill. That's one of the graphic novels that I have on my TBR. This is the one I'm reading for, I can't remember what class it is, but it's the one where you have to read a book that's under 100 pages. So I think that's only 50 pages. So I think I'll be able to read that in like 20 minutes probably. And then I'm going to move on to Shadow of the Fox. And I'm probably going to do all of that this weekend, maybe even tonight at some point. I don't think Princess Ever After is going to take me very long, like I said. So I could probably like sit down for like a half hour and read that. And yeah, that's my plan reading wise, but I haven't started anything yet. But no plans this weekend, so hopefully we'll be doing a lot of reading. But also like today and this weekend, I definitely want to do some cleaning. I need to do laundry. Everything's kind of cluttered. My desk is super cluttered. I need to kind of pick up some things on the floor. Like I have a few boxes, which some very exciting things came in that box that I have, or one of the boxes that I have, which we'll talk about in a second. But I also need to really clean my makeup brushes. It's kind of bad how I really don't remember the last time I did that. It's been a while, so I definitely need to do that. So I might do that today as well. Just kind of organize, declutter a bit, and clean everything. But I did get some exciting mail in one of the boxes that I have on my floor, and I kept meaning to show what it was because it's very exciting. So I actually think I got it last Friday, and I'm finally showing it. So I got this very big poster that I don't even know if you can see the full thing on camera. It's the All Too Well short film poster that I don't even know if you can see on camera. But yeah, I ordered this when the short film came out in like November, and I ordered it like the day or like the day after they released the merch, and it just got to me. I don't know who Taylor has for like a merch company, but they're really bad at shipping things out. I understand some things taking a while, especially when she like randomly was just like, I'm gonna release an album next week with like Folklore and Evermore, and they didn't have like the vinyl records and everything ready. Like that I understand, but it feels like everything is just taking months to get to everyone. And it's been like that. That's not a new thing. So I don't know what goes on with Taylor's merch people, but I have it now. I just stopped listening when they started sending me emails like almost every single month being like, your order is delayed. It'll be delivered this time. I just stopped listening because it never arrived when they said, and then it just showed up one day like, oh, here it is. I also got something else which I'm so excited about. It's the All Too Well notebook, but it's like a replica of the book from the short film. At the end of the short film, Taylor Swift, her like character, aka her, writes a novel called All Too Well, and it's supposed to be like similar to how she wrote the song All Too Well, and it's the actual book they made into a notebook. So on the inside, it's just lined paper, but it actually looks like a book. I thought it was just going to be like a hardcover journal with the like design of the book cover onto it, if that makes sense. But no, it's like an actual book looking journal. It has a dust jacket, and then it has underneath the All Too Well name, and it looks like an actual book, which I just think is so cool. And I know people are going to think that this is probably really stupid, but I don't think I'm going to use it. Like, I don't think I'm going to use it as a notebook. I might just use it as like a display kind of thing, because it could just be a book that's on display, and if you know, you know, and if you don't know, then you don't know. You just think it's a book because it doesn't say like Taylor Swift on it or anything. It just kind of looks like a novel. Obviously, if people were to open it and see a bunch of lined pages, then they would know. But I just think it's such like a cool like display merch type of item that I don't know if I'm gonna actually use it as a notebook, but I might. You never know. But I honestly bought it for display purposes, which I know there's gonna be people that think that's really dumb, but I bought it, so y'all can say what you want. I'm happy with it. I think I want to get like a little like display thing for it to sit in, and then just put it like on my bookshelf or something. But yeah, very happy that I finally got this and the poster. I definitely need to get a frame for the poster as well and put that up somewhere, but I'm just so happy that I finally got it because it's been months. But I just wanted to share that exciting merch delivery from last week. I've been patiently waiting for it to arrive, and so I'm very happy I finally have it. But yeah, I think that that's it. I think I'm honestly gonna start getting like ready to clean and everything, because just staring at my desk is stressing me out. You know how sometimes things are just messy and then it's fine, or maybe this is just me, but like things are fine, then all of a sudden I reach a point where I cannot stand the clutter anymore and I have to take care of it. We've reached that point. So I think I'm going to get started on cleaning my makeup brushes, doing all of that, and then I will probably do some reading and stuff later on, and hopefully have a very like reading heavy weekend. That's my only plan. So it is now Sunday. It's been a couple days, I think, since I've really updated on my reading, so I wanted to do that. I actually read and finished Princess Ever After by Kay O'Neill, and I gave that 4 stars, and that was completing, let me pull up all the prompts and everything. That was completing the Elemental Studies class and prompt, which was to read a book under 100 pages, so did that, gave it 4 stars, thought it was super cute. I think such a great read for a younger, like middle grade audience. Not only are we seeing 2 princesses like fall in love and have feelings for one another, there also is no male character that comes in to save them. They are the ones saving themselves and each other, and I think that that is so great to see. It doesn't always have to be the prince saving the princess, and they don't always have to get together. That's just not the way it always works. So I think it's so great to see this kind of story represented, especially in like a child's graphic novel. But yeah, that was really cute, really fun, would totally recommend, especially to a younger audience. And I think it was only like 57 pages or something like that, so definitely completed the prompt as well. But I've also started my next book, which is Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. This is completing the demonology class, and the prompt for that is to read a book with the word shadow in the title. So started that, and let's see if I can give a decent synopsis of this book. We're following this girl, Yumiko, who has been kind of raised in this temple, and she finds out at the beginning of this book that this temple and the people inside it are there to protect this scroll that is a piece of this prayer, and if this prayer is recited to this dragon that shows up every 1,000 years, the dragon will grant them a wish. So she finds out about this dragon granting the wish to this person that can recite this prayer, and it's actually the 1,000th year it's coming up, so she ends up having to protect the scroll after one night there's an attack on the temple. The temple like goes up in flames and there's demons there and they're trying to get the scroll. There's a lot of people that are trying to collect all the pieces so that they can get this wish granted. So she ends up being told that she's kind of the one that needs to take the scroll and get it like to a safe place. She needs to go find this person who will tell her about this hidden temple. So it's kind of like the chosen one trope. And while running from the temple, she runs into this character named Tatsumi. I might not be pronouncing all of these things right, but I'm trying my best. I apologize for any mispronunciations, but he is also a part of another group who's trying to get this piece of this scroll. But the two of them kind of team up to travel to where Yumiko needs to go. He doesn't know that she has the scroll, but she's like, I know where it is, kind of lying to him to get him to help her to this place. And she's like, when you get there, you'll know where the scroll is. So the two of them begin to travel together. And so far, my thoughts on it, I don't know. I'm not loving it. Like, I'm having an okay time. I think all of the different influences and the different folklore, all of that is so interesting because obviously there are some more like common YA tropes that are used in this book, but I think because of the unique setting and all of the influences from all the folklore and everything, it makes it a lot more interesting. Like Yumiko, the main character, she's actually a kitsune, which again, I apologize for my pronunciation, but she's like a half human, half fox. So she has these like special powers. And Tatsumi is actually like, he has like a demon inside of him, so he's like the only person that can wield this sword because of this. And I don't know, it's like there's so many different things and so many different creatures and demons and things like that that are super interesting to read about. And obviously the whole like story of this dragon and this prayer and all of this is so intriguing to me, but I'm just not super engaged with the story. I think a big part of it has to be the writing. For me, the writing style is just not meshing with me. It's just very much like, here's the story, here are the characters, this is what they're doing, this is what they're thinking. Oh, this is a new creature you don't know, or a new character that you don't know anything about. Here's a paragraph, kind of info dumping everything you need to know. Okay, now we're back to the characters, here's what they're doing, here's the conversation. It's just very simple. It's not the most engaging of writing that I've ever read, so I'm not feeling super engaged with the text, with the characters, with what's going on, but even though I do find the actual premise and the folklore and everything very interesting, I'm not super interested in like what's actually happening. Like when I'm reading it, I'm a little bored. So it's a weird thing, because I'm definitely intrigued, but it's not the most engaging way to read this story that I find interesting. So I don't know, I'm not loving it, which is so disappointing because I've been really excited to read this book since it was recommended to me, and I think it sounds really great. It's just the actual writing and everything is not my jam. I'm also not super interested in the characters yet. I'm like a third of the way through the book, I think. I finished part 1, I've started part 2, so I think I'm like a third of the way through, and I'm not super invested in the characters, which I'm definitely more of a character-driven reader. If I care about the characters, I literally will ignore everything else. I will be invested, and so the fact that I'm not super into the characters is just kind of making it a little bit more difficult to feel engaged. So I don't know, I'm not loving it, but I'm gonna keep going simply because I am already a third of the way through. I've contemplated DNFing it, which I feel like it's not a good sign because I never DNF books, but I don't know. I feel like maybe once the romance starts, maybe I'll be a little bit more interested. And also, I don't know if DNFs count for the readathon. If I wasn't reading this for the readathon, I probably would DNF it, but I don't know if DNFs count. This was kind of the only book that I could find that I had somewhat of an interest in at the moment to read with Shadow in the title. It's such a specific prompt that's making it kind of difficult to be able to complete if I were to DNF it. So I think I'm gonna keep going, but the fact that I've even thought about DNFing it, not a good sign. But yeah, it is Sunday, so today I'm probably going to watch Criminal Minds. I'm in like the biggest Criminal Minds kick right now. I think I was saying, was it in this vlog? I always like start watching it and then I start having dreams and nightmares about it, and that's when I have to stop. The nightmares have begun. The past 2 nights have had dreams with the characters from Criminal Minds or like people being kidnapped. So I probably should maybe take a break from watching the show, but I'm actually obsessed with watching it right now, so I might not. But yeah, I think I'm going to watch Criminal Minds, I'm sure at some point. I also know that there's a new episode of The Walking Dead on tonight. It's actually the finale of part 2, and there's going to be 3 parts of the final season, which I'm kind of annoyed that this is when I decided to get caught up because now I have to wait for part 3, but anyway. So yeah, the finale of part 2 is going to be on tonight, so definitely we'll be watching that. We'll try to do some reading before that happens, and fingers crossed I start enjoying Shadow of the Fox a little bit more, because I really want to like this book, so hopefully it gets a little bit better for me. Okay, I have a very important update. It has nothing to do with reading or with books, but this is more important than either of those things because look at how cute. I'm having a moment. My mom just came home and just like handed this to me. We were looking at these, they're called Pom Pals. We were looking at these in the paper store like, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and we spent a stupid amount of time looking particularly at the dragon one because it's just so cute. I'm obsessed. And she got it for me at some point and just gave it to me, and now I have it. And you have to hold it like this. It's a Pom Pal. That's how it works. It's just so cute. I need to either put it like on my desk, maybe on my bookshelf. I don't know. It's the cutest thing I have ever seen, and it's bringing me so much joy. And I needed to share because who wouldn't want to see this? If you don't want to see it, that's on you. Okay, that's it. That's my very important update. Talk to y'all later. What is he doing? Wow.
Sir. You're like
Oh my goodness.
Little beans.
Oh, look at the beans. Toe beans.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, it's now Monday of the next week. I want to wrap up this vlog here, but first, I'm going to give some thoughts on Shadow of the Fox because I did read a decent amount yesterday. I'm now like 2/3-ish of the way through. Hoopla's kind of difficult with ebooks on telling you like an exact placement of where you're at, but I'm kind of about 2/3 of the way through and I'm still feeling pretty neutral on it. I definitely think there's things that I'm starting to enjoy a little bit more, but I'll start with the more like negative thing, I guess. I'm not quite sure how I feel about a certain thing. So obviously like Japanese folklore and mythology is such a big part of this book and it's so important to the story. It's literally what makes this story exist. So I am loving that. I love how it's, you know, YA fantasy, but it's so unique because of the involvement of this type of folklore. So obviously I don't want it to be like less of that because I think that's what makes this book so fun and so unique and what makes the story what it is. But these characters are going on this journey to this certain person so that they can tell them where this temple is because of this scroll. And I feel like while they're traveling, they've gone on a lot of like side quests. And the thing is, like with a traveling novel, I think of any character is going to run into problems. There's going to be things that make this journey not like super easy. But I feel like a lot of these side quests that these characters are going on aren't really adding to the plot that much. So it's just kind of like it was cool at first. And now that we're on like the third or fourth like side quest, I'm like, okay, what are we doing? And I feel bad saying that because there's a lot of really great like creatures and demons and things being introduced that they're encountering and that they're having to fight. And because I don't know much about Japanese folklore and everything, I find it really interesting because I don't know exactly what these characters or what these creatures are going to do and what this fight is going to look like because I don't know much about these creatures and everything. So I find it interesting, but it's also getting to the point where it's like getting repetitive because they keep going on these side quests and, you know, encountering these different creatures, these different demons or whatever it may be, and having to battle them, and then they move on. And then there's another side quest where the same thing kind of happens. It's just a different creature. So I feel bad saying that because I think the mythology and everything is what makes this story what it is and makes it unique and why I like it. But it's also getting repetitive seeing these side quests all of the time. I hope that that makes sense. I'm not trying to like bash on the culture and these, you know, creatures and the folklore and everything because I think that that's what makes this book what it is. I've said that a million times, but I don't want it to come across I'm like, we need less of the folklore and all of this stuff that makes this unique. We need less of that. That's not what I'm trying to say. I just feel like all of these side quests are kind of a little bit meandering and not adding much to the actual plot for these characters, and like the entire thing with like the scroll and the dragon and that whole thing I feel like has barely been a part of this book, and that's what is so intriguing to me. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it because I do think that the mythology and everything is interesting, but I also feel like the side quests are starting to get a bit repetitive. I will say though, on a more positive note, there has been a character that's been introduced that I feel like has made this reading experience a bit more enjoyable for me. I feel like there's that very common like group of characters in YA that comes up a lot, but because it works. So there's always like the grumpy one who doesn't like anyone, like tries to shut down their emotions, but like secretly like, you know, feels things. Then we have like the sunshine, naive one who just wants everyone to get along. And then there's like the sarcastic, funny one. And this dynamic works so well, and this book has it. So our first two main characters that we're introduced to, Yumiko and Tatsumi, they are kind of the grumpy and sunshine dynamic. But then we got the sarcastic, funny character introduced like halfway through the book, and it has made the characters a bit more enjoyable for me to read because I just love a funny character. Anytime there's a funny character introduced in a book or a show or anything like that, I'm instantly like, yep, that is going to be one of my favorite characters. It's just, I love the funny characters. And the introduction of this very funny character who doesn't take anything seriously, like poking fun at Tatsumi, who takes everything seriously, and Yumiko, who just like has no idea what's going on. It's just such a fun dynamic. It's such a common thing in characters, and I feel like YA, but it's because it works and it's just fun to read no matter how many times I've read it, and this is no exception. So definitely loving that I feel a little bit more engaged with the characters. I'm still not obsessed with them, but the introduction of a funny, sarcastic character has just made me enjoy this a lot more, I think. So yeah, there's definitely some things that I'm liking a little bit more now, still some things that I'm not so sure about. And I don't know, we'll see. Maybe the ending, the last third of the book will just be so wild that I'll really enjoy it. I feel like I'm not going to get a lot of the answers that I want though, because this is the first in a trilogy. So I don't know how I feel about that because I don't know if I'm going to continue on with the series, but we'll see. So far, it's still like a pretty meh reading experience. I'm thinking like probably like a 3-star as of right now. But yeah, I just wanted to give some more updated thoughts on Shadow of the Fox before ending this vlog. So I'm really happy with the progress I'm making on the readathon. I've completed 2 books and I'm now like close to finishing my 3rd. So I think I'm on track to completing all of my books, completing all my classes, and I'm very happy about that. But that is going to be it for this weekly reading vlog. So thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you in next week's vlog. Bye.